Hi there. I direct the Campaign for Climate Equity at Global Exchange. So my primary focus is on trying to educate folks in the United States about what our relationship to the world really is in terms of climate change, and what we're going to have to do to actually deal with climate change. Basically, the United States is the biggest offender, and it's probably not a surprise to anybody in terms of climate change. Our per capita carbon footprint is several times the size of any of the other major economies. And in addition to that, we have by far the largest historical responsibility for dumping greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. As you might imagine, since we're now in a situation where we've all got to start thinking about reducing our greenhouse gas emissions, other nations in the world are fairly interested in seeing the United States pick up its share of the burden. And I agree with that, and that's what we're trying to educate people about in the United States. In terms of my hopes for this conference, the thing that I see as being the most positive element of this conference is the fact that it adopts a completely different paradigm for dealing with climate change than the official UN process does. In the UN process, it's really clear that market mechanisms are primary. The basic assumption is that whatever we do to deal with climate change is going to have to be done in a framework that treats economic considerations as primary above any other considerations. So when we start thinking about what contributes to a world that we can live in, that is treated in the UN process as secondary to economic considerations. The refreshing thing about the Bolivian conference is that relationship is turned on its head. The rights of Mother Earth are treated as primary here. Economic considerations are not a factor when it comes to figuring out what it's actually going to take to maintain life on this planet. And that, I think most people would agree, when you get right down to it, most people would agree with that approach. It's hard to make the case that an economic system would be of any value at all on a planet that won't support life or human life anymore. So I think that's the thing I find most refreshing. In terms of what I've been doing here at the conference, over the past few months, Global Exchange has been trying to figure out what its role is going to be in the road to Cancun, the next major UN climate conference. And we've decided that that's an organizational priority for us, so we're going to make a major effort around Cancun. But in the course of discussing what our organizational approach is, it's become really clear to me that there's a substantial synergy that's available between some of our programs. My program, the Campaign for Climate Equity, for example, and the campaign around local organizing for community rights, which tries to deal with issues of environmental degradation on a local level by doing things like passing local ordinances to defend the rights of Mother Earth. The ability to do that is really interesting, because what it means is that you have to organize an entire community in such a way that the whole community begins to realize that the framework for our entire Western legal tradition treats the rights of property as primary. It supersedes any other rights. And that's simply something we can't afford to support anymore. So any community organizing model that is able to actually address that issue on a local level and get an entire community to recognize that the basis of our legal tradition has got to change, and to start making that change on a local basis, is really a powerful tool for addressing climate change issues locally. So that's what we've been concentrating on.